Everything is about to change. One decision, one rescue, one promotion, and suddenly, Landman Season 2 is no longer playing it safe. Episode 9 isn't just another chapter. It's the moment where secrets stop hiding, power shifts hands, and the future of MTEX starts to crack in ways no one can control. The most dangerous episodes are never loud at the beginning. They start quiet, careful, almost polite. And that's exactly why episode 9 of Landman Season 2 feels so unsettling. After the chaos of episode 8, you'd expect explosions, shouting, or instant fallout. Instead, what we get is something far more uncomfortable, people standing in the aftermath of decisions that can't be undone. Cammy has already chosen her path. Rebuilding the rig was never just a business move for her. It was a statement, a promise, a line drawn in the dirt that says her word still means something, even if it costs everything. But episode 9 makes it painfully clear that standing by your word doesn't protect you from the consequences of it. In fact, it often makes them worse. Tommy knows this. He's always known it. And now, he's trapped between loyalty and reality. The bond he once shared with Cammy, built on trust, shared history, and mutual respect, is quietly eroding. They're still standing in the same rooms, still speaking the same language, but they're no longer chasing the same idea of success. For Cammy, success is proving she can keep control. For Tommy, success is survival. And those two goals are no longer compatible. Episode 9 leans heavily into that tension. There's no shouting match needed, no dramatic confrontation. The distance between them says enough. Every conversation feels heavier, like both of them know they're running out of time, but don't know how to stop the clock. Tommy's earlier attempt to intervene, going behind Cammy's back to Galeno, has already shown him something terrifying. The game is rigged. The money behind MTX doesn't need the company to succeed. It just needs it to exist long enough to be drained. That realization hangs over this episode like a shadow. Galeno's deal changed everything. The idea that the rig could fail and still leave him winning reframes the entire season. It means the real risk is no longer shared. Cammy, Tommy, the crew, they're the only ones who can actually lose. Episode 9 doesn't spell that out loudly, but you can feel it in every pause, every unfinished sentence. And while the corporate tension simmers, the emotional core of the episode pushes forward with urgency. Angela and Ainsley's storyline, which has felt distant and frustrating for much of the season, suddenly snaps into focus. The official confirmation that Angela rescues Ainsley isn't just a plot point, it's a turning moment. Rescue doesn't come without damage. It doesn't erase what already happened. And episode 9 seems ready to finally confront that reality instead of circling around it. At the same time, Cooper steps into the space no one fully believes he's ready for. His promotion wasn't symbolic. It was practical. 6 wells. 6 successes. Numbers don't care about age, history, or whispers of nepotism. But episode 9 tests something numbers can't measure: authority, respect, the ability to stand in front of men who doubt you and make them listen anyway. This is where the episode starts to feel shocking. Not because of what happens, but because of what stops happening. Cooper is no longer learning, no longer observing, no longer surviving. Episode 9 marks the moment he begins asserting control, and that shift carries weight. Once you step into leadership, there's no room left for innocence. Every mistake now has a body count attached to it. By the end of the section, one thing becomes clear. Episode 9 is not about action. It's about positioning. Everyone is choosing where they stand before the storm hits. And the most terrifying part? Some of them are standing in the wrong place, and they don't even know it yet. This isn't build-up anymore. This is the last breath before everything breaks. Power never announces itself. It just quietly changes hands, and by the time people notice, it's already too late. That's the energy driving episode 9 of Landman Season 2. This is the episode where control stops being theoretical and starts becoming painfully real. Cooper's promotion is no longer a headline. It's a test. The drill site doesn't care about family names, emotions, or personal growth arcs. It cares about results, discipline, and authority. Episode 9 puts Cooper directly in front of resistance. Not open rebellion, but something far more dangerous. Doubt. The kind of doubt that waits for you to fail once, just once, so it can tear you apart. And Cooper knows it. That's why his leadership in this episode feels different. He doesn't ask for approval. He doesn't over-explain. He makes decisions and expects them to be followed. What makes this shocking isn't that Cooper steps up. It's how naturally he does it. The kid who once looked overwhelmed by the scale of this world now moves like someone who understands the cost of hesitation. Episode 9 quietly confirms something the season has been building toward. Cooper has already paid his dues. The learning phase is over. And whether the crew likes it or not, he belongs there now. But leadership always comes with a price. The more Cooper asserts himself, the more isolated he becomes. Authority creates distance, and episode 9 leans into that loneliness. He's respected, but he's no longer protected. If something goes wrong at the site, it won't be written off as inexperience. It will be his fault. And that weight follows him into every decision he makes. Meanwhile, Tommy finds himself shrinking in a world he once controlled. His voice still carries experience, but it no longer carries final authority. Cammy's refusal to step back, even after everything he's warned her about, has effectively sidelined him. Episode 9 doesn't humiliate Tommy, it exhausts him. You can feel the toll this season has taken. The man who once balanced risk with reason is now surrounded by people who don't need him to be right. They just need him to stay quiet. That's where the episode becomes emotionally brutal. Tommy isn't losing because he's wrong. He's losing because the system no longer rewards caution. Galino's investment structure made sure of that. Episode 9 keeps reminding us that the real villain here isn't a person. It's a deal designed to survive failure. That kind of setup poisons every decision downstream. It encourages recklessness. It punishes restraint. Cammy, on the other hand, appears stronger than ever on the surface. She's decisive, focused, unapologetic. But episode 9 subtly exposes the cracks. Her insistence on keeping her word is starting to look less like integrity and more like defiance. She's not just proving something to the company, she's proving it to herself. And the problem with that kind of motivation is that it doesn't allow for retreat. The rescue of Ainsley by Angela adds another emotional layer to the episode. This isn't framed as a victory. It's framed as damage control. Whatever danger Ainsley was in, it has already left scars on her and on Angela. Episode 9 refuses to make this storyline comforting. Instead, it treats it as a reminder that survival doesn't equal healing. Some things follow you even after you're pulled back from the edge. By the time this section ends, the episode feels heavier than before. Everyone is still standing, but the ground beneath them is shifting. Cooper is in charge. Tommy is sidelined. Cammy is committed beyond reason. And the people caught in between are starting to realize something terrifying. There is no reset coming. There is no safe exit. Episode 9 isn't asking what will happen next. It's asking who will still be standing when it does. Some episodes exist to move the story forward. Episode 9 exists to lock it in place. By the time Landman Season 2 reaches its final minutes here, there's a chilling realization. You're no longer watching possibilities. You're watching consequences line up, one by one, with nowhere left to escape. Cooper's authority becomes undeniable in this episode, not because everyone suddenly believes in him, but because the operation demands clarity. There's no room for hesitation on a drill site, and episode 9 makes that brutally clear. Orders are followed. Decisions are executed. And for the first time, Cooper isn't reacting to pressure. He's creating it. That shift changes how people look at him. Respect replaces skepticism, but it's a colder kind of respect. The kind that disappears the moment results stop coming. And that's where the tension spikes. Success has made Cooper visible. Visibility makes you accountable. Episode 9 quietly sets him up as a central figure in whatever disaster or triumph comes next. If the drill pays off, he becomes the proof that Cammy was right. If it fails, he becomes the face of the fallout. Either way, there's no version of this story where he walks away untouched. Tommy watches all of this with the clarity of someone who sees the ending before anyone else. He understands the structure of the deal. He understands how Galeno wins no matter what. And most importantly, he understands that MTEX is no longer operating on logic, it's operating on momentum. Once a system like that starts moving, it doesn't stop for warnings. It stops when something breaks. His relationship with Cammy reaches its quiet breaking point here. There's no dramatic argument, no final speech, just an unspoken acknowledgement that they're no longer allies. Cammy has chosen the version of success that demands risk without limits. Tommy has chosen survival. Episode 9 lets that divide sit in silence, which somehow makes it hit harder. Angela and Ainsley's storyline finally intersects with the larger emotional theme of the season: control versus consequence. The rescue doesn't erase the fear, it confirms it. Episode 9 treats trauma with seriousness, showing that pulling someone out of danger doesn't mean you've saved them from what comes after. That realism grounds the episode, reminding us that not all damage is loud or visible. And then there's the looming finale. Episode 9 doesn't try to resolve anything. Instead, it sharpens every conflict and aims it directly at the season's end. The drill is moving forward. The money is locked in. The leadership is set. The emotional fractures are exposed. Nothing is left flexible. That's what makes the trailer feel shocking. Not because it promises chaos, but because it promises inevitability. The sense that no matter what choices are made next, the outcome will demand a price. Someone will lose credibility. Someone will lose control. Someone may lose everything they've been trying to protect all season. As the episode closes, Landman feels like it's holding its breath. Episode 9 doesn't explode. It tightens. It narrows the path so completely that by the time the finale arrives, there will be only one direction left to go. With just one episode remaining, this is the moment where the show asks its biggest question yet. Not who deserves to win, but who is willing to live with the consequences of winning. And once that line is crossed, there's no turning back.